Let's talk about it. Backstage in the green room, big brown couch. Welcome back. Backstage now. In the green room. Let's talk about it, big brown couch.
Yo, that is episode 2. We're back.
Come on. Let's
right
go.
Here, backstage with Lost Wax in the green room.
On the big brown couch.
Let's give it up for this week's house band. That is Kevin Church Johnson on the drums and the vocals. We got Clay Johnson on bass. And we got Tim Reed Jr. on the keys. Mark Hauser on guitar. Say what's up, guys. What's up, guys? Episode 2, Pat.
Ooh, I'm ready and I'm fired up.
You guys haven't checked it out. Episode 1 is up and live on all podcast channels and streaming on YouTube. Mm-hmm. So check us out. Follow us on Instagram. You can get a link on our link tree to our first episode. But first, let's get into this weekend.
Come on.
We were everywhere, man.
Man, we were.
We were at, what, Kaufman? We had 2 down in Arkansas. Mm-hmm. I was up in Des Moines. Where were you at?
I was in Fayetteville.
Man,
this
crazy.
weekend. And Fayetteville was lit.
Was it?
At the Garden Room. It was so lit. Like, probably one of my favorite brides of the year, to be honest.
Awesome.
I'll say by first name. Her name was Zoe. She was incredible.
Shout out Zoe.
The energy in the room for us was amazing.
Yeah.
And actually, it was the home of Clay Johnson over here.
Oh.
Home of. I was there for 5 years.
Well, it was where you got married, wasn't it, Clay?
Oh, yeah. I had my reception there.
Yeah.
Down on Dixon Street, where all my old friends are from.
We ended up at Maxine's for the after party, which is the oldest bar in Fayetteville, if I believe so.
Don't quote him on that.
But we had a great time.
I was up in Des Moines. And cool. I did the brother's wedding in the year before, and so they hired us for the daughter's wedding. Okay. And so I call it a twofer. We did a nonstop up at the Tea Room. Shout out to the Tea Room.
Yes.
And to the Gray Armstrongs, congratulations.
So how many were out this week? We had what, 6?
We had like what was that? 1, 2, 3, 5 or 6?
5, yeah.
Working.
It's busy week.
Man.
From the tea room to the green room.
From the tea room to the green room. No. Anyway, we got a great show.
We got a really great show.
I mean, one of my favorite guests, one of my best friends tonight. DJ Ashton Martin is in the house.
Pew, 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 pew,
now listen, let me just read you a few of his stats from my trusty handy dandy notebook here.
Oh.
Ashton Martin was the official tour DJ, or he is, for the Tacos and Tequilas festival that's been going on all across the country. He was voted best KC Club DJ 18, 19, and 20. He's best of KC winner 13, 20, 21, 22. He's just...
Stats on stats.
He's the greatest DJ Kansas City has ever seen, and... He's been with us for so many years. He's been a collaborator of ours forever. And, I like to call him my Vegas Sherpa.
Oh, okay. We're going to dig into that.
We will get into that. But let's get into this, y'all, because I'm ready to get into this one. We're ready to have some fun.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to the show.
Let's go.
DJ Ashton Martin.
Thank you guys very much for having me. I was very honored when you shot me the text, so thank you.
Yeah, come on, man.
Thank you for that intro. I disagree with a lot of that, but maybe not the Vegas one. A lot of people disagree now. It's all good.
Well, look, man, you have been such a big part of the Lost Wax DNA for, going on over 10 years now.
Oh, more than that, right?
Oh,
yeah.
What's your history with the Lost Wax and Chris?
Yeah, so it was so I started coming up as like, what was it? It was 2000, moved up here 8, 9, 10. It was probably 10 or 11. Mm-hmm. And we ran into each other on a couple events, and I believe they were weddings. And I remember I was like, man, these guys are really good. And I remember protocol for me was always ask kind of what the band's going to play, so I didn't burn them.
Right.
So I walked over and I remember saying, I got his attention finally, because if Chris plays drums with his eyes closed.
Right.
So he's just like sleeping and jamming, he kills it. But I'm like, So finally got the I got the set from him, and we collaborated really, really well. I think that we were put on a few more shows after that, and he kind of stayed on and played with me a few times, and I was like, man, this is cool, and it was like cohesion right out of the gate, and it was cool.
Yeah.
And then one thing led to another, and I got started getting booked for corporate events, and I'd be put with bands, or hey, you're going to open, or you're going to close. And as soon as I could put their name in a hat, or your guys' name in a hat, I did. And that's the first one, I believe, quote me on this maybe, but it was in 2000, I think it was 2012. It was 2010, 11, or 12, one of those.
Was it Hardball?
And it was, no, actually, that one's kind of a running in duration too. That's a close second.
That was 2 years prior.
It was
to me,
actually
yeah.
First Hand Foundation
Yes.
for Cerner.
Yes.
Yeah. It was the Masquerade Ball.
Oh my gosh,
And
I remember that. My mom and I
so
both wore
think
matching red wigs.
I think everybody's played it a bit. Yeah, so they used to go kind of back and forth with bands and book other bands that kind of make it around and pass the baton. But I remember I played it 1 or 2 years, and shout out to Shauna. She put me on with the corporate and opened my eyes to that world. So I brought him in, or I brought them to the table. I was like, hey, you got to use Lost Wax. And then at the same time, they were just killing it. And I think that was like the first couple years it kind of flipped from
I remember that.
party band, because they were really trying to figure out the mashing up of the songs, and like it sounded good, but it sounded good and great for 12.
Right.
Well, there's so much of this world that is like, we're the band, you're the DJ, and you do you, we do us. And you're the first.
It definitely is that.
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
And you were the first guy that ever came to us and was like, how do we make
Work
this better?
together.
How do we collaborate together,
Yeah.
man? And
Well,
that was huge for us.
When I would get put on with bands, it would be the whole thing of, do I bring my extra PA because this band is going to see DJ, and then they're going to be like, you're not plugging in, you're going to blow our stuff, which I'm sure arguably that's occurred. Everybody's had a bad instance with a DJ or a band, right? So it took a long time for the respect and to get a name, just in general, for somebody to let to plug into the PA. So that's how the conversations kind of started with me when I would be put on with bands prior to Lost Wax. And it was never, I would have to put my probably Peavies or Behringers or whatever I put next to their stuff, and then they would end, and it was very much a line in the sand. And it very much was not a collaborative effort. It was, we played our set, and it wouldn't even tell me when it was just done, and then I would play.
Yeah.
So Chris being Chris, Chris being the guy he is, and me being who I am, it worked really well. Like, we were friends and collaborating before we knew we did. I think I said that earlier. It was cool right out of the gate. And that was what it was. His approach was make a better product for the client, and it was something we really wanted to strive to do. And we just kind of we were building our own thing, which would have been Lost Wax and Jukebox Media, and then Ashton Martin is the brand, building it at the same time coming up, but tossing stuff back and forth. So we never, and it was cool for me because I never would be like, well, I'm part of Lost Wax, I'm part of the band, but very much so you guys have made me feel that way, which is huge because you don't get a DJ in a band. Like, you don't get that kind of respect.
No,
Right.
Maybe you do now. Maybe
And
I'm
I
not
think
seeing
it's
it.
really cool because it's like
cool.
an experience. Like I specifically remember Chris coming to us and saying, we're going to do this Cerner gig
Sure.
with Ashton. And I was pumped because
Right.
it was the one where they had the stage in the center with the box around us.
Oh, yeah, the
and they raised
007.
it up
Right,
and we were
007
revealed.
gig.
Remember
Yeah,
the
that's-
007?
I did
Yes.
because I programmed my engagement into that.
Oh,
Yeah, that's
yeah.
holy shit, that's right.
No, so I do remember it very specifically. So when we had that, so that the box raised for the story for the people out there. So we did the 007 theme. We did a 360 stage, set up right in the middle main hall, Union Station. VIP was on the backside. That was the idea. GA was in the front, so the whole you could walk around it. So we dropped the box so we could hide it and have a reveal. And that was actually the first time we did like a collective.
Yeah.
Because we had the LED suits on another
my
one. But
gosh.
yeah, so
Dude.
that was the first one that we actually had. Chris ran a backtrack, and I was looking like a front runner as the DJ, so it didn't look like he had spacebar. So it looked like I was providing this. But it was really wild how we did it because you guys wouldn't have known how to do it.
Exactly.
Like you had to rehearse it and stuff. So anyway, that was the one where at the end I had hide and jump up the back, and I went around and then pulled Ashley up and engaged her.
I'll tell you what, man. It was.
That was so dope.
It was such. It would. Well,
was
I
cool.
mean, what a beautiful moment and a time to do that. I mean, for
was
you,
perfect.
it's kind of so on brand for you because
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
like we,
embarrass her? You're absolutely right. Right on brand.
I mean, you've been such a huge fixture in the Kansas City scene for so long, and I feel like, Lost Wax coming into it, like we were making our name as well, but like, again, it was just, to meet up with a DJ that was so willing in inviting to us to collaborate on these things, took our events to such a different level.
Yeah.
Man. And
and that's what parlayed into the collective.
I was going to say, you mentioned the
that's
collective.
a good angle. Yeah,
Tell the people what.
Yeah,
collective
tell us
is.
what the collective is.
It's really taken shape, and what it was a brainchild between me and Chris. I mean, we're not the first ones to do it, but I believe that we do it in a different way than anybody's ever heard or seen, and that includes both of you. So, Lost Wax, people have seen it. It's you guys, the backing track. You guys are doing your live mashups. You're murdering it. You're delivering it. You're selling it. You kill it. High energy. The difference is that it's a DJ centric with drummer, and we can build from there. The full collective's up 7, 8, 9. You can run the pieces up as much as you want. It's scalable, and my favorite is, one of my favorite ones is DJ, drummer, violin, wireless, so they can work the room.
Yep.
And that brings that immersive effect to the whole, for all the patrons or the guests. And then we have a mobile sax that runs around. And then the one that really pulls it together is when you add a vocalist. And that Shelby's done it, Eb's done it. And here's what's wild is that, especially with stems now, I can pull and break everything down, like pull the guitar and let you rip, pull the vocals out. So it really turns into a hype girl, and you're passing the baton around the whole thing, and the DJ gets all the power to quarterback the whole entire thing. So I can still do my thing and still move the room. We're not locked into anything. Like, we're not doing these 26 songs. We're doing these 3. Let's bring it together at the start, and I'm going to go from there. And then she can call me back. Oh, let me do push it right now.
I was going to say, what I really love is like,
and she wants to do shoop. She reads it. She goes out and talks to him. She's in the crowd.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's crowd. They really want to do shoop. Because I'll tell you in your ear. So then she steps back. She's like, hey, do shoop. I'm like, all right. Boom, hits it. And then they're like, oh. So it brings that magic and, like, again, that immersive thing. So, yeah, like where you said, you
No,
like
I was just going to say,
fly.
like, from coming to just go and watch you DJ and dance, and you always, like, you know, the kind of stuff, if I bring a group of people out to dance.
I end up handing
and
the
so
mic.
I've been able to carry that into the collective because we have that, like, friendship, that banter. When you're just out at the club DJing, he'll see me and hand me the microphone.
Yeah, and I'm like,
and it'll
right
be like, you know, my love, what is that one song?
I'll go click. While coming down the stairs, like, click,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
And
everybody's like, how, did you plan that? I'm
no,
like,
and I'll just hand it to them. I'm like, here. And I'm like,
He's
I'm
like-
about to drop it. And then she goes, and then now we just stem it out and drop the vocals out.
It's so dope, and it's so fun. We just did that wedding at the Grand Hall.
Right.
That was
That
a
one was-
fusion of
That was,
Indian and
it was it Laotian? Yeah, it was. It was, no, Vietnamese.
Vietnamese and Indian.
Vietnamese and Indian. Yep.
oh my gosh.
Correct.
And he was just mixing, and
Yeah, like Bollywood and stuff. That's such a high
was so
energy. And
dope.
we had the horn section.
It was so dope.
It was super cool. So I would say over the last 15 years, it's just been both sides and both teams collaborating and building everything, and just never settling and always reinventing themselves over and over and over and over and over. That was what it for me. I mean, Kansas City see me play. You've seen the Ashton show. Like, I mean, you have. You know, I played hot. I played loud for a lot of years.
How'd you get your start, Ashton?
In KU. Well, yeah. So, like, start. How far you go? About how much time you got?
We got plenty of
So,
time.
I can do
We
it
got
real
plenty of
fast. I
time.
can do it real quick. Gotta internalize a Ric Flair here.
Yeah.
All right, so I can go
Let's
quick.
go,
I can
brother.
go quick on this because I've touched on this before, but for some people that don't know, hometown's Westphalia, Kansas, 80 people. It's
80
between Garnett
people?
and Burlington. My grandma owned the bar and grill, quarter draws, you get the idea. Grew up around a lot of farmers. You learn grit, you learn work ethic, the whole thing. It's not jobs split up, it's you get the job done. Work as a team, sound familiar?
Yeah.
So, right, so I got influenced early on. Pool tables, beer, and a jukebox. I could reach the quarters in the cash register, and I'd go pump the jukebox. And I'd pick songs.
Nice.
Here's one you're not gonna know, and this is one I kind of held back on. So I sang with the band
Wait, what?
when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. Now you can only sing so well, and then you're just cute and funny, and you have fringe on your jeans, and you have cowboy shirts on.
Fringe on your
I gotta see pictures.
Oh yeah. So my mom took Levi's, and I was like a little boy, golden blonde hair, straight up bowl cut. And she would cut it wet, not dry. Says all weird different lengths.
Yes.
Oh my
It fit
God.
for where I lived. So whatever. So there's a train track at Catholic Church.
Can we
in a damn
please
school.
superimpose a photo of that
I'm gonna
somewhere?
need-
I have it,
Liz?
and I
Can
got
we
the one where I
please?
used to
Can we
win beauty
please?
pageants too.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I can keep
Pixar
going
didn't
on
happen.
this.
I gotta
Well, you guys
see
want to
this.
hear shit you don't know, so here's what you get.
Yes.
So I used to stand with this little red guitar, these red cowboy boots, and I would sing Pink Cadillac, Dwight Yoakam, and what else would I sing? Oh, Born to Boogie, a lot of Hank Williams Jr.
Yes.
And some classic rock. And then the band was known for singing Stroke and Clarence Carter.
You
I knew
did
I
not.
knew the goddamn words to that when I was 5, but I didn't know what I was saying, so I just run around and say, stroke of Clarence Carter, don't stroke so fast. You know what I'm saying?
Look. Man, let me
If my
cut
stuff
you off
ain't
for
tight
just.
enough, you can stick it up.
I'm gonna cut you off for just a second because
Yeah.
that is one of the best things I love about you because I've known you for so long. There's so many people that I know, friends of mine, that are like, "Oh shit, you do stuff with DJ Ashton Martin. Like, he
want you
seems
to
like a
think
club
about
bro."
it.
I'm like, "Dude, you do not know this
want you to
guy.
think about a kid
This
in, like,
dude
the
has
country
come
now."
from the middle of fucking
Yeah,
nowhere,
a lot of people think
man."
I'm from Kansas City, which I love Kansas City. Heart and soul's
No,
Kansas
you
City,
are,
family
but,
here, house,
but
all
you
night.
you grew
But-
up in the smallest of towns, and to be like such a big club DJ, everybody would just
know, so I
assume
throw it
that
at you guys.
you're this dude, and like you're
Yeah.
not. I'm like this guy has.
No.
You're like
You just said you
Shrek,
weren't
man.
gonna do it.
You got
No, I don't wanna
layers. You got layers to you.
No, it's fun.
bro.
So that's what I wanted to cover. There's stuff I haven't said on other podcasts. where
love
it's like,
this.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, kindergarten through 8th grade was the same 13 kids, 9 guys,
That
4
is
girls.
crazy.
Same. And then everybody else
What's
went
the
to Garnett.
town?
It's called Westphalia. And my grandpa
Shout
moved
out
from Kansas
Westphalia.
City down there and got a plot of land and started farming.
Okay.
And then, yeah, so.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah. So, I mean, I grew up in a very small town. Actually, there's like 15, 20 people. I had like 9 grandparents. I didn't know how lucky I was.
Yeah.
Left keys in your car. So anyway, enough of
Yeah.
that. That's where my original start was.
Right.
Told you it'd take a minute. But then I loved music and I had that singing background or always on a stage, I guess. And I never was feared of that or scared of that. So then I went to Burlington High School, then KU. And then that's when I really found out I loved the nightlife because I went out every single night. So I loved to dance. I loved I was on like a dance troupe and stuff. That was cool.
What?
You were in a dance troupe.
Yeah, I
Okay.
did. I performed at late night, actually. I danced, sang, whatever you want to call a 5-year-old singing.
Oh,
all
wait,
the way
KU
to,
late
10.
night?
What? Yeah.
Or at Allen Field?
Yeah, I
House?
taught kids how to glide like ushers.
Oh my
No,
God.
ask anybody that really knows.
Hey, shout out
Ashton,
Rock
the
Chalk.
layers,
Because I'm a
dude,
KU
no.
fan.
Not 5 years, because I did a victory lap, probably because when I'm like, yeah. Yeah, so I would go out every single night. I would, and I would just have a great time. I was always social. I'd shoot pool one night.
Did
go
you
dance the next-
graduate? That
I
is
did.
the question.
Jesus, exercise science, psychology.
All right.
Also, I was Air Force for 4 years too. Because I started flying planes when I was 14
That's
in
right.
Burlington because I have a scholarship there because we have the nuke plant. A lot of
I'm just
federal
gonna
money.
sit over here and drink my beer.
Yeah.
So
Just
yeah,
crazy.
so I wanted to fly, like be a pilot. That was the whole goal, and then ended up on the brown couch.
On the
That's
brown
right.
couch. When-
Moved to Kansas City in 07, 08. Had $1,500 to my name. Started hustling and grinded as far as like bartending and whatever I could because I thought these diplomas were going to do something. Well, 07 wasn't a great year. So yeah, that's how I was already DJing a little bit. Some guys taught me some stuff from the East Coast. So I got to learn I'm traditionally, or I guess classically trained on turntables. That's how I learned on records.
Who brought you up?
As far as in Kansas City?
Yeah.
It was just, so I met like High Noon. It wasn't a plentiful amount of DJs like there are now and places to play, which is cool.
Did you know Miles Bonny?
I did actually,
Yeah.
yeah. And I knew him through, so Beastie and Archie were the guys that I met that taught me, and they were tied in real good with Miles Bonny.
Yeah.
And the Brent Tactic.
Yeah.
And
He was probably my favorite.
he was really cool.
Because he would play trumpet and stuff.
He would, yes.
Remember,
There was one
what's
in
the place on Westport?
it was Record
You
Bar.
played there.
It used to be.
No. Firefly.
Oh, Firefly.
Back when Firefly was
That was
getting
back
it
in
back
the
in the day. Whoo.
That was
Yeah.
that was when it was more loungy. Yeah,
Yeah.
So he did some cool stuff and some pop-ups. It's just like back in so then there's like the OGs that like I would go look for. Like when I moved up here, I went and just hit the scene every night.
Right.
Just same thing in college and just met who I could meet.
Yeah. That's how
Wasn't
you do
asking
it.
for gigs. I just met who I could meet.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And I mean my original residency I think was Saints Pub and Patio in Lenexa. And then it used to be Mickey's Irish Pub. And then I was Raul's Velvet Room.
Yep.
And then
Oh
I
my
was
gosh.
reverse on the Plaza really catapulted me. Leo Prieto put me on there for some networking thing. You know Leo. You guys know Leo. And then then it was when actual like the not Velvet Dog. Yeah.
Velvet
but
Dog?
next to the Soul Cantina, like when it was actually Martini Corner. That's how I got my start through Kansas City. Is really
Was Brick House still there when it was?
Oh no,
It's-
Brick
no,
House is
Brick
like
House
an
was
iteration
Velvet Dog.
years
It
after.
was Velvet
That's right.
Dog.
It was Velvet Dog
Velvet
and Brick
Dog.
House. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
so the dog.
Man, you're bringing back these memories. I'm having flashbacks.
some people
Hey, look,
pick
I
me up, like,
graduated
5
in
years ago.
07, so you're dealing with a youngin' over
I'm
here
40,
on
so,
the
yeah.
my right, your
Oh, a
left
lady
side
never,
of the
a
brown
lady
couch.
never discloses her age,
I
so
do.
you'll
Yeah.
never know.
No, go on, man. Yeah.
It's just some dysphoria. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway, and everything else has just been just hustle and grind and
Yeah.
relationships. And then that would be really what it's all came down to. And that'll come right into the conversation with Chris when I met him is I always just wanted to play all sorts of gigs and with my background of different types of music. I didn't want to be pigeonholed in one thing. I knew what I liked. Because you got to realize that when I didn't grow up on 90s hip hop.
Right.
So like the intro and the band's killing it. Like I didn't come up with that. I come up around bands and pickers and stuff, right? But I mean, to me, everything I learned when I was learning how to play, I was hearing it for the first time. Like, you know, Far Side or De La Soul. That was 10, 15 years old, and I just heard it. So I'm playing this like it just came out because it was new to me. So it was cool. And I really appreciate and really enjoy how I came up and all the people that gave me the opportunities. Well, that's what it was.
You know, and before I joined Lost Wax, which was 2014, I remember working the American Royal Barbecue with you at Craig Carter's Ultimate Tailgate.
Yeah.
And I showed up with my trio band, and he was like, "Yeah, I got a DJ coming in." I think Ashley was with you. You guys were still dating.
Yeah.
And you guys were up there, and you were so kind to me. I mean,
Did it rain that night? Was that the one that rained?
Yeah,
where we
rained.
I was getting electrocuted.
Was that
and you were?
No, it rained like it was a hurricane.
It was still when American Royal was like in the West Bottoms, the OG.
That
like,
might have been the
tents
same year
everywhere.
because if that was the year I'm thinking of, that was the second year maybe I was with.
You guys were awesome, and then I can't remember the band who came in after or something. I don't remember. It might have just been you guys or us this time, but that was a really cool event.
Dude, and shout out to Craig Carter, by the way, because he always puts on a great American Royal barbecue setup. I think he's still got one.
Well, those are the
today.
gigs that I still meet people that are like, dude, I saw you play.
Yes.
So I think that's.
Well, that was our first introduction into that, and with you, like, you know, working with DJs, like we were just this trio bar band, just doing, you know, blues rock throwdown shit, and then he's like, "You're gonna be with the DJs," like, "Oh, DJs here," and then you were. I just always remember my first introduction to you. You were so kind and so sweet to us, like, and I was like, this dude, he's a cool dude. And then, you know, fast forward 2 years later, I get out of that bar scene, and I get in with Lost Wax, and boom, we're working together.
So I want to talk about something cool that we all got coming up that you were there on, and it's called Second Chance Stage, and it's premiering on Thanksgiving night.
That's right,
on HBO Max.
HBO Max.
That was sweet. That was cool to watch.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
And you were sort of like host audience type.
Oh, this is hilarious.
Tell me about
Yes,
that.
please walk us through this because.
So Chris.
So we were first of all, we were the house band behind all of the contestants.
And Chris was trying to find a way to utilize like a collaborative effort, like the collaboration, the collective, and use it some way. But it was more or less like beggars don't be choosers when you're on HBO.
Exactly.
I'm like, what do you need me to do?
What do you need me to do?
What do you need me to do? Sit for? Like, so he's like, hey, are you good for all this? I'm like, sure. And so I didn't really know what I was getting into. So I just think that like I'm hosting something or whatever. So I'm coming in suits at like whatever. Every day I wear a suit. I love that. It's fine. I'm dressed up. So I get there and I'm like, all right, I don't know what I'm going to do. So, and I see on the script it says host, crowd warmer upper, comedian. And I go, this is the most greatest joke ever. I'm like,
get out there, bud. Give him your fist.
This is how it went down.
Knock, knock. No.
Dude.
He goes, crowd warmer upper. And I'm like, Ashton. He goes, cool, get him. And he walks off, and I'm like,
mic in hand.
wait, what? I was like,
So you have no DJ equipment in front of you.
No,
You're just like out on stage and go.
No, hands me the mic, and right out of the gate, I had a little script to say, which is basically, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Second Chance Stage. My name is Ashton Martin. I'll be your MC this evening. Probably going to say some things to you, something like this, a little redundant. Keep your phones in your pocket. Don't be shooting it live. This is all like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I went out. Mic wasn't on. I start talking. They're like, turn the DJ's mic on. And then I'm like, so then that broke the ice. And then I just start talking, and it went fine.
Yeah.
But I was out there 17 minutes. And let me tell you what we got into.
Oh my God.
All kinds of shit. Like, I was like, all right. And I said my spiel, and I went back over, and he goes, now get back out there. And I'm like, all right. So it's like, all right, ladies and gentlemen, what do you guys want to know? And then there's one guy's like, how much can you bench press? And I'm like, dude, I go 225 a couple times. I don't know. I got shoulders and I like my joints. What next? Like, barbecue. I go, I hate it. And moving on. And like, then this comedian side started. Then I started rolling. Like, and then it kind of came into that.
Too bad that stuff wasn't caught on camera.
I did that for 6 days, and it was super fun opportunity because
that's cool.
Yeah, I mean,
well, you were also dealing with like.
Oh, dude, I got to see how it all ran.
Yeah,
which was cool. I love
the behind the scenes of that, and it's like so many of those people are, You know,
they've done stuff forever.
like a lot of them are they're filling seats, so they're hiring people to come in and fill those seats. Like for those people, this is not news to anybody.
No.
Like that's the way a lot of these shows are ran. Is like they are
Yeah.
hiring people to come in and sit in the audience to fill seats.
Well, they're like
and so you just have people there, and then they're just kind of sitting there, just like.
and I don't have any tricks. It's not like we're ladies, babies, and then drop a track.
And they're just sending somebody out there.
That's what I mean. You're like out there.
I'm
They're getting like
you could hear a pin
raw
drop.
Ashton, man.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right. So I got in. You do the first one like you do anything else, and it was super fun. And this the band, y'all doing that. Like I watched for sick, but I was able to walk around, eat snacks. They had awesome food everywhere, and then guys would stand there for hours and hours and hours, and then do a take, and then you would have to come back out and do another one because then you forget they're shooting this live, so they like stop everything. They're like, all right, everybody, we're gonna need you to show us sad faces. That was fun. At the end, they're like, I'd be like, all right, everybody get mad. And everybody's like,
yeah.
And then now it looks sad, like somebody kicked your dog. And then they would shoot all these different emotions, and I was like, dude, this is funny. I want to do this part. So
you talk about
it was cool.
The longest days, as I know.
But you guys kept a great face. Like,
Yeah, it's just like the longest days of filming and just like going through shot after shot, and which like, you know, day 1 or 2 for us was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
And we're just like, man, we're getting behind the scenes, and by day 3 we're just like, oh my God, like
it was you guys keeping the happy face on
yes,
the whole time, every single time, because when you weren't in the shot, you were in the shot.
Yeah.
But that streams when?
That streams on Thanksgiving Day. So anyway, it was a lot of work. I unfortunately was not here. I was, in
Where
Paris.
were you,
No big
Ebony?
deal.
Well, let's ask where you were.
I mean, I was in Paris being a jazzy superstar, but
Hold on. I got one more thing to say about that. I sent Ashley in a jet airliner down to Playa del Carmen for our joint 40th birthday party, and stayed. I let her, or like didn't let her go. I sent her a day early with 20 of our friends, and then I flew in a day later so I could MC that thing with y'all. So
Yeah.
Well,
made sure I told Chris that.
See, and that's called
Chris,
dedication.
be on the ocean right
That's
now, but I mean
dedication. Well, it was just great because I mean, the whole show was based. It was Casey themed. So it was all the judges that we had were Martina McBride. We had Heidi Gardner. We had Tay Diggs, and I know at least Heidi and Martina have ties to Kansas City.
So does Tay.
And Tay Diggs too.
Martina does, and I just did a show with her, so I got to catch up with her husband, which is awesome.
Name drop much.
Yeah.
No.
Just kidding.
But no, you got to understand that's the way
Jazzy
Ashton
lady
rolls.
from
Like Ashton is always in and
I don't
out
have
the
her
rooms with
number.
these people. That's the way he goes, dude.
Sorry, I thought you guys are the famous people that I'm with right now.
Yeah.
I just did a show with Martina McBride. I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, she's like, hey, this was frolicking around Paris. It was so crazy. Otherwise, I'd have been on TV with you.
Anyways,
Hey,
moving on.
I want to segue real quick because I want to talk about one of my favorite moments with Ashton Martin, which is a conversation. No, yes, you know exactly what this
Look,
is going.
I'm just going to sit back and enjoy the ride
Now,
here.
you have
Me
to
too.
understand that Ashton has and I've known Ashton. I've known you over 10 years now, at least. I mean, well, 12, 13 years, and we've talked so many times about. I've never been to Vegas.
I forgot about this part, yeah.
And Ashton has tons of residencies down. Which
Oh,
shout out to you.
No,
Well,
not
well,
residencies. I played out there because of relationships.
where are the
but
clubs that you played at?
I played
regularly?
Dre's, and I've got to play a lot of clubs because of doing corporate shows.
Yeah.
Like doing corporate events. Like, there's one I'm doing in January for, it's going to be at Omnia.
Okay.
But it's a corporate event, though.
Yeah.
So it's closed, and I've wild out at Hakkasan, I've wild out at, it's not like I'm opening up for R.L. Grime or like some, but do I know my way around the clubs? Yes.
But you are.
Sure
do I know my way around the clubs?
Ashton
Yes, I do.
has always been my what I have dubbed him as my Vegas Sherpa. Okay, and he guides me up the mountain, which is Las Vegas. All right. And we finally.
Well, you find your own way to the gambling table.
He'll take you to the top, but he's like, you got to find your way back down, which is the hardest part. And
where do you end up at?
At the very bottom. We were at the Wynn. We had a 10-piece Lost Wax, and we had Ashton as our DJ that night.
It was cool.
And it was my first real trip to Vegas, which Ashton and I had been discussing.
So we do Saturday, and then I got his hotel Sunday, right?
Yeah, we flew in Saturday morning, and Ashton was, and here's like my favorite part. was you were like texting me before. You're like, bro, don't worry about anything. We got drivers coming to pick us up. We're going out.
Dude, you'll spend your time wandering around if you don't have that. It sounds bougie, but you'll walk outside and there'll be a line of 500 people because there's a show that let out that you don't know about.
Yes.
And they're like, Uber's $96 and it looks like your hotel's there, but you take off walking, it's 4 hours.
Yes.
Exactly.
So
Clay was the MD for this one. So Clay, would you please get in on this and discuss?
this wedding was wild.
It was so wild.
Impersonators, it was Kate and Co. out of St. Louis.
Yes,
The
shout
elf-
out Kate
Shout out.
and Co.
Shout out
Kate
Kate
and
and
Co.
They missed
Love you
zero
guys.
attention to detail. They missed
Yes.
zero extra.
Perfection.
Every little thing was like perfect. Was tailored perfect.
I had met that Elvis impersonator before that. He's from Lee Summit, believe it or
What?
not. Yeah, it was crazy. He was
For
like,
those of you that don't know,
yeah. He's like,
Lee
hey, how
Summit
you
is a
doing? I was like,
suburb
cut the
of
thing,
Kansas
man.
City. So
We know who you are, man.
But so,
Hey,
so it's at the Wynn, right? We fly in that day.
Yeah.
They don't have golf carts for us to get from the front door to the back, which is
which
where
is
it was.
basically like
Would
What?
you
The
talk about the
18th hole.
longest walk of your life through that to the back where we played? I remember I unpacked my shit and had to roll it out, and I was like,
it was pretty wild. You don't just
my
pull up
watch-
to like the convention center and roll up the back with the Tundra and
No.
and walk in.
Not the easiest
they
load
don't let you
in.
do that.
It
there.
was a 1.5 mile walk from the front to where we were set
Where
up.
do you load
With
in
gear.
out there,
And
like,
I
right
left
there?
one piece of gear, and I was like, gotta walk back on my, like, I clocked like close to 6 miles before that night was
I
up.
closed my move ring twice.
Yeah, dude.
2 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we absolutely, we murdered that
Oh,
event. They had an
crushed it.
Elton John guy out there playing.
Oh, yeah,
They
before
had
him.
First
everything
dance.
going on the whole time. Like it was an outdoor area, of course, in Vegas. It was covered, beautiful with the greenery and everything they had. It was ridiculous.
It was picture perfect, man. And that is like honestly how Kate and Co weddings roll every
Top to
time.
bottom,
Like
yeah.
they are just, they're
Yeah.
elite. And
They set you up to win.
yes.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yes.
You
like
I mean,
literally, like
yes.
layup.
every vendor involved is like they know what they're doing.
Yes.
Which
and
it's all
Kate,
set up to
Kate
just
Kimmy, and
kill.
Eli, all of them know how to put on something like that. But, anyway, Clay, I want you to keep weighing in on how that went on your end because.
No, I was just keeping everybody straight on, the business side of things.
It's fun because I enjoy taking people that it's their first time because
Yeah.
once you see the magic, it's like, but I can set you up to walk you straight into something. You're like, whoa.
Well, it was
fun for me to watch you.
It was great
and you
because
deserved it. It was cool.
Well, it was awesome because like you had Clay who was with the other half of our band and they like did Fremont Street and all that thing.
Fremont
And-
Street's awesome.
Yeah, and
If
they
you
were
have time.
and they were telling me, they're like, hey man, like we're gonna do Fremont Street, and I was like, man, I've been talking about Ashton about going out in Vegas and doing the Vegas thing for a while. I was like, I'm rolling with him. And they were like, cool, we'll meet you, we'll just rendezvous back at some point. And I was like,
We got the best of both worlds. I think
Yeah.
we got in. I think we got in at like 6. 7.
Yeah, Fremont
we
Street.
did. It was 7 because
no
we
big
hit
deal.
Marquee.
About
and
6,
then
7
the
a.m..
The best part of that was we were with Shelby, who's our producer. She's back here somewhere. But Shelby was with us too. And her and Colleen,
Colleen, yeah.
Colleen was playing violin. And they were like, hey, we got to go to the bathroom. You want to come with us? And I was like, cool, I'll roll with you guys. So I roll down there and I'm like walking them down
We're
to the
getting
bathroom.
every moment of this.
This
I
writes
mean,
itself.
You have
This
to
writes
because
itself.
It was,
He's like, Dan, I was in the Euro.
no, it was
No,
it
no.
was the
You
best
could
because they
plug the
walk in.
memoir.
So they go in, and I'm just standing waiting for them outside of the girls' restroom, right? And right in front of me is a $50 minimum blackjack table. And I'm like, you know what? I got some cash on me. So I walk up to it. I put $100 down. I put $50 on the hand. Win. Put 50, literally, and Shelby can
this
vouch
sounds
for
like the
this.
second trip to
I
Vegas
won
here.
$350 in 5 minutes. And they came out of the bathroom, and I'm just with a handful. I had
Oh, wait, you came back to the
$350.
table like all
And I-
about it. You're like, look what I did.
Yeah, and I came back. I was like, "Do we tip them? I got $350."
That sounds like Pat. That's the
Holy
best Pat
Vegas,
impression I've
Batman.
heard
I'm
today.
like, put it in your pocket. No, go to the cage later. What are you doing?
and then Ash,
He's like excited. He's like, take what you need. I gotta owe somebody money. I'm like, no, dude, drink a drink. Put your pocket. What are you doing?
yeah. Anyway, it was one of the best nights. Of
I
my
could
life,
shorten the
man.
next one. He went out there and we ordered a bunch of sushi, and his wife called and said her water broke. And then he couldn't actually get home unless he chartered a flight, so he had to go sit and cry by a poker table
That was true.
until he flew out at 6 a.m.
That's real
He
talk.
didn't feel bad because it was like we just did a cheers and a shot, and then he got a text and he's like,
That's real
and then
talk.
Chris is over there like, it's my fault. I put him on the gig. And then I got to do it.
Let me jump in on this because I was there.
Yeah, you were there.
Yeah, come on in here, Dana. Come on.
Hey. And look who's back in the house. She couldn't stay away.
No.
Back from our first episode.
This
I
Dana
just
Sterner.
had to because this
Can I
was
punch this punchline, please? God, I was like, what the hell did she just say?
so okay.
Awesome. I'll
So
let you do
we're at this incredible. Speaking of Ashton being the
Mizumi,
Vegas
it was
Sherpa, he takes us to what was that restaurant?
Mizumi. It was
Mizumi.
sick. It was
beautiful, incredible, best
the
sushi of
Win.
your life.
It's
There's
awesome.
like 10 of us around this big table. Pat gets the call. His wife's water broke. And he gets up and goes outside. He's gone for a while, like on the phone, understandably flipping out. And we're all looking at flights, whatever. He's already on the 6 a.m. flight, and it's just like, there's no way. There's nothing to be done. He can't get home any sooner. You just got to stay. So Pat comes back to the table. He's still on the phone. People are trying to kind of, it's all right, brother, we got you. It's going to be okay,
I didn't say that.
No, I think somebody,
No, you did not.
somebody said that.
Let it ride, brother.
And then,
Dana said.
and then fine. So then Pat kind of looks up and is like, hey guys, man, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm killing the vibe. I'm just sorry to ruin your night, I think might have been your exact words.
That is my
you
personal-
better
and
say
nobody
this
really
right.
knows what to say. And I look at him across the table and I go, Pat, you have nothing to apologize for. I'm gonna have a great time regardless.
She did.
And it came down to, do I just stay out with the group and bring which would have brought the whole vibe down. So I went back to the Westgate, which was where we were staying, and I sat at a slot machine until my Uber came at 4 a.m. And I
poor
ended up
guy.
winning
Now,
$436, by
Hindsight
the way.
2020. He probably could have just went out and raged with us, nonetheless. Because I mean, it's
It's the Ashton
You guys,
Martin.
by the way, that baby wasn't born for like 2 days.
No, I know. Yeah.
He didn't
14
miss
days
anything.
later.
It all worked out.
She labored
He's
for 18
gorgeous.
hours, and
2
he's
days.
a beautiful baby boy. He came out just fine. Dad was there for all of it. He was born
Gotcha.
right in the living room.
But speaking of Abby, your wife, she's got a blog post.
Yes.
And we wanted to ask you some questions from that
Ooh, yeah,
blog
that's right.
post. And one of the things, our latest blog is about the 10 perfect first dance songs. Do you have any suggestions from your DJ perspective?
I do actually, because I get asked that a lot, and I feel like, as you guys know too, scripting weddings, I feel like there's some popular stuff like everything else that everybody wants.
Right.
And you'll hear the same thing. I don't necessarily give them song. At first I did years ago. I try to tell them, think less about the specific song, unless there's just something that you know, like it was your mom and your mother's son, like you knew that this was your song when you were a little boy, and you bring it back, surprise her with it, and she cried, like you want the moment. I think about it more as, honestly, like just what song do you like? It doesn't have, sometimes it doesn't have to make sense. Like not to overthink it as like,
Yeah.
I know that sounds vague, but that's truly what I've told bride and grooms, because I've had a lot of them get hung up on it hard.
Yeah.
Those are the last TBDs on my script that never
Same.
get changed from TBD.
Yeah.
It always just ends up on the fly, and they get texted me, and it's, versus, you have your classics, and then you have, I think I lean more to the unique side. Like I've heard, we've all heard this or that, or what was it? I want to say, what's his name? He did Over the Rainbow. That was really popular 4 or 5 years ago. Remember that? Remember his name?
Oh, is that the
Ezekiel.
big Hawaiian guy that did
Yeah,
the
he did
ukulele version?
So that was really popular for Mother's Son.
That's terrible,
For
y'all. I'm
Mother's Son.
sorry.
No, but
But
Mother's
y'all know
Son.
what we're talking about.
Yeah. Well, then there was, Tim or Butterfly Kisses.
Butterfly Kisses.
Then you're gonna play that whole song. You can't cut that off because it's a story. So now you're signing up for 5 minutes. Make sure you know it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, shout out Butterfly Kenny, by the way, dude.
Bullshit.
Jeff
Jeff.
Kinney, yeah.
love
No,
Jeff.
but I would say make it
Kills
unique and
that
make
song.
it different.
Yeah.
But don't, not so different. It's so weird. But like it just, I don't know. I just
So,
tell them to be
so
unique.
to sum it up, would you say, because this is one of the things that I say, especially now that we've been doing it a while and you have had a lot of songs that come back and get repeat, it's like, what's your vibe? What's your bride and groom? What are you feeling?
I have to.
What's special
talk.
to you?
That's
yeah.
the scripting for me. I love scripting my own weddings. I still to this day
Yeah.
want to script my own weddings. If I have to, and it comes to it, and somebody does it for me, fine. But sometimes you don't know the bride and groom. Sometimes
Right.
you have a relationship. But if you don't, we get paid. We do a good job of reading the room.
I would say, for
I
me,
want their energy.
Would you say like 7 out of 10 come to the table kind of knowing what they want?
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
say we're sitting around 6 to 7.
Yeah.
I'd say yeah. And a lot
You
of
know
them
what
are
I've
like,
been
what do you
having-
think are these? And I'm like, I mean, I don't know their whole family history, but I'm
Right.
like, what do you think about this? And I'm honest with them. I'll
Me
straight
too.
up be like, this is probably not going to land like you think.
Yeah.
But it's your song, so
Yeah.
you know.
I had the one of the biggest things that's been coming up for me is the grand entrance song. I feel like people have been getting hung up on that a lot.
Oh,
They've been
dude,
hung up
this is
because
a good. This is a good
whether
one
it's-
for Ashton.
Whether
This is a
it's
good one for Ashton.
you know, just a couple or a
Right.
couple and their friends, and I always say, you know, well, what's your friend group like? What's your vibe?
If you're
you know?
if you're even doing a bridal party,
Right.
A lot of anymore is, you know, this is what I say is if you're coming in with a bridal party, then don't do 14 different songs. It's just 2 songs. There's
Yeah.
one for them that's coming in hype. They're your hype people. They're
Right.
breaking the ice
Exactly.
for you. And I always have them go out to the middle. I go and talk to them, get them hyped. They're like, what's up? You guys ready? All right, here's what you're doing. You're going to come out high energy, coming in all together, assuming they do, not individual couples.
Right.
And the cake's right in the middle. They come in, I need you guys just getting crazy all together. That way they're not on the spot like John and Jessica need to dance when they
Exactly,
walk in.
yeah.
That's cool, but like, I
Would
like
you
it.
say
I like
that-
all energy coming in, and then
Yeah.
you switch it, let it set for a second, and then have another track queued up. But
And I
if their
feel like-
vibe, are you doing John Summit?
Yeah.
You're not doing, you know, like Pharrell Happy's burnt to the ground, but like that was over and over. That
Yeah,
was one, the
yeah.
one that comes to mind that got burnt to the ground.
But I do feel like the trend has been coming in as a group to
Yeah,
one
bridal
song, and
party.
even maybe the
Yes.
same song,
Same song.
same
Yes.
song,
The
and just
instrumental
timing
on the
it to where it's
yeah,
like,
coming on a hook.
Yes.
you know, you come in on. We did a live version of Can't Take My Eyes Off You,
Yeah.
and we were able to loop that intro. We
Yes.
got the wedding party
Yep.
in, and then we dropped right into the chorus.
Yep.
Wedding bride and groom came in.
Well, for me, it's the
Boom.
energy on what's next too. So
Yeah.
like, if I know they're going, because everybody, hey, all right, get on your feet if you're able, bump, and everybody pops up, and then you're bringing them in, and everybody's at a 10 or a 12, and then you give them one more like crescendo. Give it up one more time for
Yes,
Mr. and Mrs. Da-da-da.
exactly.
And then the progression has, ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. We're going to cut the cake.
Exactly.
And then it's the first dance,
Yep.
and then it's the welcome and the
Yep.
blessing, and then the
It
dinner,
really,
and then-
yeah. A lot of it is
stair
about
step
flow
down. It
and
is.
about.
And I don't care what their grand entrance song is. I mean, I'll make it work. I always bring it back to, this is your night.
Exactly.
I know you've been to 500 weddings or 10 or 20 or whatever. That's cool. That was their wedding.
Right.
Your parents had their wedding.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, make this your own. This is the time for sure, because we have all these different cool things with like everything we can do. Like,
Yeah.
Yes.
Make it your own thing.
I do that as well. Like,
Yeah,
what do you want to do?
What do you want to
Like,
do?
It's
Well,
your
I'm
night.
curating for you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, what do
Exactly.
you want?
Well, I feel like that's hard for a lot of bride and grooms to wrap their mind around is the fact that like
They get stuck in
they
this-
have all their friends around them and they want to like feature them, which is totally fine.
But
That's
also,
okay.
to add to that, I think a lot of times, and it's not a knock to older traditions or anything like that, but if, like, you know, I've had a couple weddings where whether parents, aunts, or good friends have been planners, and it's a little bit sort of more
pushing them.
traditional, and so they're like, well, you're supposed to do
Yes.
this and you're supposed to do that. And a lot of, you know, people, like, they're getting away with the bouquet toss and they're not doing the garter, you know, and
Yeah, I
so
don't
all
even
of that.
remember the last time I did
That's what
one
I'm
of
saying.
those.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So things that were maybe more people were
just- I
used to
just
back
think
in the
that
day,
it
they're
was
not
awkward.
doing now. And so
No.
I think a lot of that modernization of just doing what you want to do.
Yes.
It's your day. Do what's
I
important.
really
for
do
you.
like that, and yeah, I just like the creative process too, because you're tailoring it to your couple's
Yeah,
energy.
exactly.
yeah.
You know, and you can tell I've had couples that legitimately do not like attention at all.
Yep.
And they're actually nervous about the whole thing, and they're
Exactly.
like,
Yep.
we're just not like that.
Like, it took everything
they're
for them
not
to
like
even
that
get
to
up and get
even-
married.
Yes.
It's,
Yes.
they're
In front
like,
of
no,
everybody.
they just
Yes.
were both just not like that.
Yeah.
It's happened a couple of times.
Well,
and
and that's
I'm
where,
like,
like,
how
that-
would you like me to? What would you like to do?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think what we did was we had them mingle with the crowd and during cocktail, and they didn't do a grand entrance. They went straight into, and I got the attention, and they did a welcome.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, and then
I
they
like
did their
that.
first dance, and we didn't do any kind of. She goes.
Speaking
I
of
do not want
dances,
it.
I have one more question. Like, party starter song. Do you have something in mind?
Man, that just goes.
It does depend.
You know, like, if you would have told me that I would be playing the sets I'm playing at weddings right now 10 years ago, I'd be like, no.
Interesting.
Meaning, the weddings I'm playing, they're not having me come in there because I'm really good at playing Bruno. It's that I'm really good at playing everything and keeping the integrity of the evening, but also playing Bad Boy too and running that line. The same reason I get coupled with Lost Wax.
Yeah.
It's like, you guys are doing your thing, and then I do mine. If you're not there, I'm doing that thing, plus I'm playing Bad Boy too. So that's I wanted to give you a little bit of perspective where my mind was on that. Is
Yeah.
there one party starter? Not really. It depends on your crowd, because now it's not like I come with 500 songs. I have everything I ever wanted. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
actually
true.
kind of, you know what I mean?
True, true,
Anything
true,
I
true.
need. So like,
So
I
would you
think that I
say-
could give you 20 songs that's going to smash and
Yeah.
do a wedding opener. I know DJs that can play, and I go in and out of the ones that are going to work because you want everybody involved out of the gate.
Right.
So I think I would say where you're turning the left turn after you've made grandma and aunt and everybody happy, I think there's always that little left turn where I leave myself headroom and turn it up and start. I tailor that to the bride and groom because I have them give me a wish list,
Yeah.
his and hers or the couples or whatever, and I do, and that's where the magic happens. I'll see him coming across. She may be in the bathroom and he's with his boys. Oh, he really likes this. I make it work. I play it right then, and boom. Now he's and same with her.
So it's curated.
So for me,
It's-
I'm
it's
watching the
exactly- yeah,
room
you're
and I'm
watching.
making it on the
Exactly,
fly.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
it isn't like, man, I'm going to drop Usher, right now, and it's going to pop off.
Right.
Because to be completely honest with you, even though it's one of my favorite tracks.
What's the game that we used to play?
No, but it's like it doesn't set it off like it used to.
Yeah.
You know, that's track was from 2003. You know,
Yeah,
and
John
everybody's used
Goolsby
it.
and OG and I
Yeah.
used to play this game on break. He named it. So like, don't get mad at me, but he
Oh, no,
called
he'd-
it
he'd be like, no, I
songs
had
that
a
make white
little
girls go
run.
crazy.
No, that's totally it.
And that's a game
Oh, no.
we used to play when we ever take a break.
Well, that's funny you do that because that's exactly the game I'm playing.
Yeah.
Well, and that leads to the point where it's like you can sit there and script with a client.
Yeah.
Weeks leading up, all day long, but like getting there and like seeing the room and feeling things out changes. Like it'll shift
Yeah.
for us, it's like we can prep and plan everything with a client, a bride and a groom, or whoever, or a corporate client. But once we get into the room, then you can kind of really feel like
Yeah.
and use our
Like,
what
what's
we've
your,
been
what's your
read the
demo?
room.
Oh, they're like,
Exactly.
oh man, they don't dance or do anything.
And then we
and
can
you
just
get in
kinda
there
look
and you're
out there
curing
and
for that.
see,
You're
like,
like, everybody's raging.
this is
You're
what
we're
like,
doing.
second set's going hard, and then I jump in and I kind of build it up a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's the moment I touch on. So when I play with you guys, if I'm doing a 15-minute break after your first hour, and it isn't just you doing a 2-hour straight and me at 1 hour close, and I know I'm coming back on, I'll stab them a little bit, but that's not my goal. My
Yeah.
goal is to keep the energy in the floor hot, keep them hot for you, but not just turn it into an absolute, just like burn the place to the ground.
Yeah.
Because, okay, like, sorry, I was like, okay, like, what is that? You got, I know what your set is. That's
No.
like not,
Yeah.
it's just not
we
good-
appreciate
it's
that
not good
about
business.
that about you because you could burn us.
Now,
to
there's
the ground if
sometimes
you
I look at you and I
wanted
go,
to, but you
we're
don't.
45 minutes off script and I have got to, I'm going to have to stab him on this guy.
Yeah,
And you're
yeah,
like,
no.
all right. I'm like, okay, so cut your first 10 off that next intro set and go right into this. Okay, cool.
I
So,
mean, that's about the collaboration.
Good.
Well, man, this has been great.
I don't know if this is the direction we're supposed to go, but you
We-
got a little
it
bit
was
of
this
great.
is
everything.
No, it was
exactly where
great.
we're looking to go.
It was great. We got a lot of. We got a lot.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for
man.
coming.
Look, this
Love
is
you.
DJ
Ashton Martin, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's throw it to
DJ
the band tonight, y'all. Come on,
I was
Lil
like, get out of
Swags
the big
band.
crowd.
My
Man, that was a good talk with Ashton.
That was, man,
Who
Ashton.
knew? I need to see pictures of him in that bowl
tell
cut
you
though.
what.
Pixar didn't
real,
happen. You know what I'm
dude.
saying?
Well,
No, but I'm
for-
excited because, dude, second chance stage.
Second Chance Stage is coming up.
Like, that's
Debuting
crazy.
Thanksgiving, and I think we're gonna have Amanda McNeil
Yeah.
might be coming up soon on the
And
next
she
episode.
was with you guys.
she was like
backstage. Mm-hmm.
kind of our backstage liaison. She was
Amanda
like,
McNeil runs twice on Sunday, by the way.
Yeah, twice on Sunday
sister
band. Shout
under
out to them.
Jukebox.
And she was kind of the organizer for everything that we were doing and keeping it all together. So that will be a super interesting episode to kind of dive into the ins and outs of all of that.
So
but
that drops second chance stage. It's going to be, it airs on November
Thanksgiving.
27th, which is Thanksgiving night. Is it November 27th?
Yeah.
Thanksgiving night on HBO Max.
That's right.
And
Which hold on, I got to interrupt for a second
Okay.
because Ebony, you've been looking very beautiful, and you're all done up. Like, what, why
Goodness.
are you done up like
well,
this? What's
last
going
week I was a busted mess. No, I'm just
on? No, you were
No,
not. You're
I
never a bust.
got nominated to be a rock star
Oh.
for Band of Angels, and so I had a photo shoot before this, hence the makeup. But yeah, and that's where we raise money to give instruments to children and grade school kids and stuff like that.
That's
so.
amazing.
Yeah.
Is that here in Kansas City?
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
So you guys want to be a part of my fundraiser? Look me up. But
hey, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of
Lost
Backstage.
Wax Backstage
In the green room with
room
Lost
on
Wax.
the
We
big
love
brown
you.
couch. Hey.
And the big brown couch. Hey.
On the big brown.
I welcome back. We in the green room, drop tonight, chillin' it down. On the brown couch, on the brown couch. I welcome back. We in the green room, Lost Wax on the brown couch. Lost Wax, let's go. I welcome back. We in the green room, brown tonight. On the brown couch, on the brown couch. I welcome back. Round two now. On the brown couch. Hey. Welcome back now. On the brown couch. Yeah. Welcome back. Round two now. Lost Wax on the brown couch. Welcome back. We in the green room, brown couch on the brown couch.